Hey folks, Tim here, FT Lot for the Love of Trains. Welcome to the mini series here we're going to do on this short section of railroad I've picked out here. It'll more or less be a landscaping type mini series here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure the track is level, all the ties that are in the spaces where we joined the rails. We're going to cut the profiles in the sub roadbed and paint the track. I believe we'll try to do all those in this video. So let's get right to it. Okay, one of the first things I'm going to do before I forget is I'm going to run some tape along this edge where the plywood's meeting the fascia and where the plywood's meeting my backdrop here. Okay, so we've got our barrier now, so we prevent all the stuff from running down the wall. Okay, so I want to take you down to track profile level here, or pretty close to it, and show you. I've got a little area back here where I tried to shim it up a little bit. You kind of see back here, but there's just a slight dip in the track, and I'm going to need to add some more shimming underneath the track here to bring that up so I don't have any coupler mismatch areas back here. And I'm going to show you real quick why that happens with the materials I'm using. Alright, the stuff that I'm using, it's called Homosote. I buy it at actually Menards is where I get it. Anyways, it's like it's a 1/2 inch thickness. The problem is that sometimes it's not a completely true across the board. From one side of the sheet to the other side of the sheet, you could have slight ripples and variations in the height. Now I've seen a lot of guys, what they'll do is after they put this all together, they'll sand it all off or plane it off so it's perfectly smooth. Well, I didn't do that. I just attach everything down with screws right to my plywood. The reason I like this over the foam is that I can put my track pins in this and it holds it solid. It's real nice that way. Just personal preference. I started using this. It's worked out real well, so I've continued to use it over the years. But there is an issue with elevation changes, which isn't half bad because it kind of looks neat when the trains are rolling down it and you can kind of see the cars and the engines dip and move just like you'd see on real tracks. So that's what I use, and let's go ahead and fix this dip in the back here. Okay, so we've got in our track or our tie pieces here, there, and then there was some down here by the insulated area for the drop bridge. Remember, when the drop bridge is down and not hooked up, these two pieces of track are dead all the way back to this section here. And then of course once it comes back on up and it's snapped into place, then these two tracks are powered, just to prevent trains from dropping off the end. So okay, now I got the ties in there and I got this leveled up here, so I'm pretty happy with that. Everything looks pretty straight and level. What I'm going to do is this material, this Homosote that I use, I can cut the profile and with a razor blade. Hopefully not my hand or any other part of my body, but I can usually cut the profile pretty good on here to give us our ballast roadbed looking profile. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, all I'm using is just a regular plastic X-Acto knife, and just to show you, I'm just kind of, I go in and set the edge and I can kind of cut my profile here. Obviously I'll have to do some painting again, but now I've been able to trim my profile, and then this center part I'll end up filling in with some plaster of Paris just to fill in the void. Okay, so there, I've cut down the profile here on both sides as well as on the other side here. Okay, this is where things get a little more tricky because in this particular section I'm going to use some spray paint. It's just a flat brown that I got from Walmart or any store you can find. I don't like to spray a lot of it in the house, but because this is such a small area, I don't think we'll have too much trouble with it. Also, once I do the spray this stuff, what I do to wipe it off the tracks right away is I cut a piece of this Homosote out, and I just use this to wipe down the rails. It's soft enough that it'll dig in pretty far, so it'll clean the top of the rail as well as down on either side of it. So it gets rid of most everything so that you don't have to come back and really try to scrape it off. Alright, so we'll make a couple of... It doesn't take a whole lot, you're just trying to get the gist of it here. And then, like I said, I'll come back with this Homosote material here, and then I use this and I just wipe off the rails. You might even be able to see the rails are nice and shiny now. Works out really well for getting that paint off there. Like I said, scratching it off later is just not much fun. Alright, so there is the painted tracks. Like I said, I just do a light coat on there because most of it's covered up by the ballast anyways, but just to give the effects, take away from the natural look of the track as it comes out of the mold, and then it does paint the edges of the ring. Alright, so there is part one of this mini series, and basically it's just the track preparation. Leveling the track, putting in the spacers or the extra ties where the rails join together, where I had to cut them out, cutting the profiles of the sub road bed that I'm using, and then also just painting the track. So next time we'll do more with plastering that center part and starting to work on what we're going to fill in between on the outsides of that. I'm going to have like a rock cut I think I'm going to do out of foam, and I can show you guys how I'm going to carve that and paint it. Real cheap, real easy. I try to use all parts that I find along the road, you know, from somebody's, they tried to take home a piece of foam and it blew out of their pickup on the way home, and I'll stop and pick it up out of the ditch. And that's what I use for a lot of my foam work down here in the basement. So thanks for tuning in to this one. We'll go on to part two. Hope you're enjoying it. If you got any questions or comments, please do that down below. And thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and as always, until the next time.